Hi everyone, it's Vicky Papaioannou here, and today I'm focusing on our calendar stamps. You will find a weekly and a monthly one, and these are perfect to use on planners to create your own calendar pages, to-do lists, or even travel journal pages. These have been released for quite a few months now, and after popular demand, we are introducing the same two stamps but in Spanish for all our Spanish friends. So today I'm going to show you many different examples on how you can use those stamps, and hopefully it's going to inspire you. For all my example pages today I'm going to work on my art journal. This is the mixed media paper art journal. The size is A5 and it has nice thick pages that take stamping beautifully with no issues. It's not going to bleed at the back. So let's start by using this big grid and let's create a monthly calendar page. Since I'm trying to pack many projects in one video, I'm going to show you just one page, so let's work for the month of January and I'll talk you through the process and what I like to do so you can easily recreate one page for every one of the 12 months. You can go ahead and stamp the grid at the bottom of your page, or if you want to introduce a little bit of color, you can definitely use some of those background pages and stamp the grid there. When I do the stamping, I always make sure that I don't mess all around the page. I like to make sure that I keep intact the main focal points so that I can use them on my projects later on. So I'm going to stamp the grid with black ink. And of course, keep in mind here that you can use any color of ink that you like to match your projects. Now for today, I'm going to embellish all my calendar and journal pages that I'm going to do with a one specific Stamperia collection. So I'm working with the Romance Forever Stamperia collection. And I'm mainly focusing on the 8x8 paper pad that I'm using here, and you will see me use the ephemera pack as well as the ribbons and the washi pad. Now I'm making the January page, so I'm stamping the word January on one of the labels that are already made for me in the paper pad, and then I'm just going to use my scissors and cut it out. Also in the same stamp set you will find the days of the week. One of the rows starts from Monday, another row starts from Saturday, so it really depends on which part of the world you are and how you like to stamp your week. I like to start my weeks with Mondays, so that's the line that I picked. I'm just going to ink it up and it's going to fit perfectly on the first row of my grid. Again, keep in mind here you can play with color, you can use a different ink pad or even use your markers and color in your first row. You can write down the numbers here. You will find 6 rows for the numbers. However, depending on the month, you may need only 4 or even 5 rows. So if you don't need all of them, you can definitely use your scissors and cut it out like I'm doing here. If you are going to use the grid and stamp it directly on top of your project and you don't want to have the last 2 rows, for example, you can always use masking. And now let's put together the first calendar month page. If you want, you can add some inking, some stenciling at the background. Today I'm focusing mainly on ideas for how you can create planner pages. So I'm not going to do any techniques for the background. I'm just going to make the pages clean and simple. So I will be playing with ephemeras, the tickets and the frames from my collection, as well as ephemeras from the Romance Forever collection. You will find that the tickets and the frames from my collection were designed so that they match perfectly every collection that you have. All the colors are very muted and neutral, so you can easily combine elements together. So I have here all the elements that I need to create a cluster at the top of the page. I'm going to leave the bottom half of the page empty so that I can stick there the calendar later on. Keep in mind, Stamperia ephemeras are all self-adhesive, so you can peel off the backing and stick one on top of the other real easy. And that's definitely one way to do it. If you want to, however, be able to tuck things underneath, under your cluster later on, then one way is to just use a dab of glue at the back center of your ephemera and stick one on top of the other. This is going to leave the edges without glue, so it is easier to tuck things underneath. That's definitely one of my tips that I like to do from time to time. However, here you can see I'm just sticking everything down. However, I'm not pressing everything too hard. I'm just laying the stickers one on top of the other, so later on, if I need to, I can lightly peel it off. They are quite forgiving, these ephemeras. However, if you press them down, they are going to stay put for good. Now I'm going to stick down the label that I have created that says January, as well as the grid, and I'm going to call this page done. Now you can definitely recreate the exact same design by using ephemeras from another collection if you want to go for the month of February, March, etc. Or you can definitely use the same collection throughout all your months. Now, just because January is the first month of the year, I chose to go with the suitcases as well as the clock, representing a new journey for the new year. I am calling this page done, but you can definitely add little embellishments here and there by using our ribbons. These are going to lay completely flat and blend beautifully with the background, or you can definitely go ahead and use the washi pad. Again, a great way to play inside your planners because they don't add any bulk at all. I am going to use both the ribbons and the washi pad in the next pages so you can see them in action and talk a little bit about the differences. Now that you know the process, you can recreate the same pages using different collections. So here is another example where I used the coffee and chocolate collection. You can see here I did a little bit of inking at the background, but it's exactly the same concept. Now let's move on and I'll show you a completely different example. Let's create a one-page weekly planner. In the stamp set you will find these lines. These are 7 lines to represent a day of the week, and you will also find columns with the days of the week, again starting from Monday or from Sunday, depending on how you want to start your week. Now I'm going to do some stamping. For that I'm going to separate the page, make sure that I don't have too much bulk on this side where I'm going to do the stamping, and again I'm going to use my black ink. Now, of course, for all the examples today and the different types of projects, I am working on the same journal. However, you might want to create different journals for the different styles. So I stamp the lines, and then at the front I'm going to stamp the days of the week. I like to start my week again with Monday. And this is kind of a to-do list. You can write down whatever you like that you have to do per day, or you can omit completely stamping at the front the dates, and this is going to give you a little page where you can write down everything you like. It can be a to-do list, for example, a shopping list, or even you can use it to create cooking recipe pages. So anyway, here I'm going to again decorate the top of the page to make it look more interesting. I have picked a couple of tickets and frames from my ephemeras, and also some of the flowers, the leaves and the gramophone from the collection that I'm using today. And I'm going to combine everything together, just layering one on top of the other. But to make it even more fun, I'm going to bring in one of the pages from the washi pad. Now, I like to use this lace, and for that you can either use your scissors to cut it out, or you can use our new pen. This is a ceramic pen. It has a very fine tip blade that helps you cut it out. You can freehand cut it out, but just as an example, I'm going to use a ruler here. I will use it freehand later on in one of the next projects. So you can just go all around, cut it out, and then it is easy for you to peel it off. The benefit of using the craft pen, the ceramic pen, instead of using your scissors, is that you don't end up with tons of pieces all over the place, cut out pieces, and everything stays nicely on top of your page and you can easily find the designs. So now I'm just trying to decide how I want this lace to be and where I want this lace to be. This is again washi tape, so you can easily tear it off with your fingers. I will end up later on pretty much covering most of it because I usually don't think ahead, but you will see that I'm going to use that little piece that I cut out. So playing with the ephemeras, I am creating interesting clusters, and I always like to use the frames from my ephemera pad so that I can kind of create a base where I stick everything on top. So here I'm going to place the gramophone, and then I will embellish it with the leaves and the flowers from the Romance Forever collection. And this is what I was talking about covering the beautiful lace, the washi tape lace that I added at the bottom. After sticking the flower and a couple of leaves, I'm going to almost completely cover it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick the other piece that I cut out previously so that I can see a little bit of it. And the truth is that in mixed media, as well as when we are creating clusters, it's all about the layers. Sometimes we just enjoy the process layer after layer, and some of the layers may end up not showing that much at the end. For me, it's always there. I always feel that even if we don't see it, that layer lives in your page. Now the washi tape is very thin and it blends beautifully the background. It's going to look as if it is part of it, plus it is semi-transparent, so if you have something underneath, it's going to still show, it's going to come through the layers. Now I'm bringing in the ribbon, again another product which is perfect along with the washi tape to use inside planner pages. Both these products lay completely flat, they become one with the page, and they are perfect because they don't add bulk inside your pages. So here I'm going to transfer this design. Ribbons stay nice and opaque on top of your designs. They are not semi-transparent and they don't have any border all around. So here is the last piece, and I'm going to bring in again the washi pad just to show you another fun way to use them. You can use a ceramic pen and freehand all around the design that you like. So here I'm going all around the ticket. I'm going to peel it off and stick it on my project. This has a little bit of a border because I didn't go all the way to the line with my ceramic pen. Remember, this is semi-transparent, so it's going to blend nicely with what's underneath. I have also cut out a label from my paper pad. This one says Harmony on top, which matches the focal point that I have created. However, if you want, you can turn it around and write down anything that you like. I used the pre-typed side, and this is the finishing touch for this page. Now on the next page I'm going to show you a completely different example. Let's create a diary. Let's create a daily page. So for that I need the day stamped at the top, and I went with Wednesday just for demonstration reasons. So again, I'm stamping with black ink, but you can definitely use any color that you like for your stamping. Now in the same stamp set you will find decorative corners as well as decorative lines. I'm going to use one of them which is absolutely adorable. It has a little heart, and you can use that to add some embellishment on your corners. You can just rotate it all around and it's going to fit every corner that you have. If you want, you can connect those corners with scribbly lines, or you can use your ruler to connect them, or leave them as they are, just like I'm going to do here. And here are a couple of decorative lines that you can use just to give you some extra options. And now it's time to do some stamping. Again, I have separated the page so I don't have bulk underneath. This is going to make sure that I have a good impression. And I'm going to stamp those block of lines in a couple of areas. This gives me two blank spaces where I can stick photos or embellish my page to make it beautiful, and of course two areas where I can write down what happened throughout that day. So for this page I thought it would be fun to use only the washi pad. Don't press too hard with the ceramic knife, just go along and also make sure that you move the paper like I'm doing here. Don't rotate the ceramic pen all around. Now I can peel it off and stick it on my project, and you will find that it blends beautifully with the background. It's going to look as if it is part of it, and notice that the border kind of disappears. And of course that's the beauty of using washi tape. I also used my ceramic knife along this frame, which I'm going to stick on the other empty space. Again, blends beautifully, you cannot see the border all around. And now, just for the fun of it, let's combine some ribbons on top of it. You can definitely lay ribbons upon ribbons or lay ribbons over the washi tape with no issue at all. I chose to go with a little bit of text, so I'm just going to transfer it. I like to use this bold tool, but you can definitely use the back of your pen, the back of a brush. It is really easy to transfer these ribbons. They are great quality. Now I'm also going to cut out a couple of butterflies and transfer them on top of my frame as well. And notice that when I'm using my ribbons, I always take the extra step to separate the images, because I find that this has saved me a lot of times from making a complete mess if I use the whole designs all together and just try to transfer only what I need. Trust me, it's going to stick all over the place. So this is a completely flat page with no bulk at all. And let's move on to the last example for today, where I am going to create a 2-page spread as if it is part of a travel journal. I used one of the 8x8 papers from my paper pad, and I'm going to stick this big panel on one side. The corners of my journal are kind of rounded, so I'm going to use my scissors and round the corners, the 2 corners. So this is ready to stick down there, and then for the other side I'm going to use the other piece, and I'm just going to create a border. So I will follow the beautiful design there, the flower design, and I'm going to cut it out. Now this may look quite difficult, but trust me, it's not. Plus, when I cut out this border, no one will ever know if I chopped off a few of the leaves or the difficult parts that I didn't want to go around. So I'm just going to really quickly cut this out, and then I'm ready to stick the big page on one side and do some stamping on the other side. Always remember to separate the page that you are going to stamp to. You don't want to have bulk underneath, otherwise you will not get a good impression. Again, I'm stamping my lines using black ink, but you can use pink, for example, or purple to match the colors of your paper. I'm going to stamp these 3 times, one under the other, and for the bottom I'm going to do a little bit of masking. Now this is supposed to be page inside your travel journal, so you need plenty of space to stick photos on one side and plenty of space to write down what happened during your trip on the other side. So now let's decorate this page as well. I do have my border that I have already cut out. I'm going to stick it on the side. And now let's put some embellishment for this page so you can see better the whole concept. I do have some ephemeras again. I have this camera, and I'm going to combine it with one of my frames from my collection, as well as a little ticket. I'm just going to stick one on top of the other there. And you see, just like always, I like to create clusters by sticking ephemeras one on top of the other. And the ephemeras do have some dimension on them, but they are perfect for using them inside the pages. Both ephemeras as well as ribbons and washi pad is perfect for this type of projects. You cannot go, for example, with the die cuts because they are chipboard pieces and they are quite bulky. Remember that keeping your pages quite flat in planners is going to allow you to do stamping at the back, making sure that you will still get a good impression. Now the other side is where I'm going to stick my photos, but first I'm going to show you how you can use the circle date stamp, and you can mark on top any date of the year as well as a whole period. So I'm using again my black ink, and I'm going to stamp that on my paper pad just so that I can grab that lovely texture and design at the background, while at the same time I made sure that it's in an area where it's not busy. Of course, I'm making sure that I don't destroy that beautiful paper. I still want to have that border and the bird so that I can probably use it on other projects. Now, as an example, I do have a couple of photos that I printed out, and on top of them I'm going to place my photo frames. Again, the photo frames are from my ephemera packs. And of course you can use the photos as they are and stick them on your journal, but it always adds an extra something when you decorate them with the frames. So in that circle stamp you will find 3 circles. One where you can mark the date, another where you can mark the month, let's say this happened in November, and then the inner one where you can mark the day. I'm doing scribble circles with my pen, but you can definitely use a marker and just color in the day that you like, or even create a continuous line to mark a whole period. Now I'm going to cut out a couple more labels which I'm going to use to embellish my 2 pages. And again, I used my ceramic knife to cut out the label. However, I don't want to use it as it is. Remember, this is semi-transparent, so it is not going to stand out as I want to if I stick it over other elements. Sometimes this is something that we want, other times it's not. So in this case, you can definitely stick that on top of a white piece of paper and then fuzzy cut it. This is going to give it more stability, it's not going to be semi-transparent anymore, and you can use this design as if it was cut out from a paper pad. And let's finish off the other page. So for that I'm going to use some ribbons. I want to add some detail at the center of my circle stamp since it looks quite empty as it is now. For that I'm going to use a part of this flower. I'm going to cut the part that I need. I'm not going to throw away the rest. I can always use it on another side for my project, and I'm going to transfer it at the center. On top of that, I'm also going to stick a label that says together, and this is washi tape that I again used the trick with the scrap piece of paper underneath. So these are some ideas for today: a 2-page traveler's notebook, a daily diary page, a weekly planner, and a monthly calendar. All these ideas were based on the 2 calendar stamp sets, and of course you can create different journals for every one of these ideas. And also keep in mind that we do have the journal organizers where you can use those 4 elastics to put together all the different journals that you create. I hope that you had fun today, that you got inspired, and thank you all so much for watching.